The champagne bottles were still warm when Yong Hun opened his eyes. His head pounded. The suite reeked of expensive perfume and regret. He stretched across silk sheets, expecting the usual morning after a night he'd never remember. Power did that. It let you forget consequences. But the penthouse was too quiet. No staff rushing around. No coffee brewing. No mistress clinging to his arm, pretending last night meant something. Just silence. The kind that crawls under your skin. He sat up, rubbing his temples. That's when he saw it. A crisp white envelope on the marble table. Legal size. Sealed with a gold emblem he knew too well. The same law firm that handled his billion-dollar mergers. The same firm his wife's family founded 3 generations ago. His wife. Zora. He hadn't thought about her in weeks. Maybe months. She was just part of the scenery now. The woman who stayed quiet at galas. The one who smiled for cameras and asked for nothing. Perfect. Convenient. Boring. Yong Hun grabbed the envelope, tearing it open with the same carelessness he treated everything in his life. Petition for divorce. He blinked. Read it again. Then laughed. Is this a joke? But the signatures were real. The clauses were detailed. The language was cold, surgical, final. This wasn't a threat. It wasn't a plea for attention. It was already done. Hi, welcome to this beautiful storytelling channel. Thanks for watching. Kindly tell me what country you're watching from in the comments. Now back to the story. Yong Hun's hand started shaking. Not from fear. From rage. Who did she think she was? Walking away from him? From his empire? From the life he built? He threw the papers across the room. They scattered like broken promises. Then his phone buzzed. A message. Unknown number. You should have come home last night. His blood went cold. He ran to the safe in his office. The one only he had the code to. The one that held everything. Contracts. Offshore accounts. Backup plans for backup plans. It was open. Empty. Not a single document inside. Yong Hun staggered back, his breath catching in his throat. His mind raced. This wasn't random. This wasn't panic. Someone had been planning this. Someone who knew exactly where to strike. And the only person who'd ever had access to his world that deeply was Zora. But she was harmless. Wasn't she? His phone buzzed again. Another message. Check the news. He opened his browser with trembling fingers. The headline hit him like a freight train. Billionaire CEO Yong Hun under investigation for financial fraud. His face drained of color. What the hell was happening? Yong Hun didn't panic easily. He built an empire by crushing anyone who stood in his way. Divorce papers? A news scandal? Those were problems money could fix. Problems lawyers could bury. He called his attorney. Voicemail. Called his CFO. Voicemail. Called his head of security. Nothing. His jaw tightened. Fine. He'd handle this himself. 2 hours later, he walked into his company headquarters like he owned the world. Because he did. The glass tower gleamed in the Seoul skyline. His name was carved in gold at the entrance. But something felt off. Employees avoided eye contact. Assistants turned away when he passed. His personal secretary wasn't at her desk. He shoved open the boardroom door. Empty. No meeting. No agenda. No one waiting for his orders. His phone buzzed. A calendar alert. Board meeting, rescheduled without CEO approval. His heart skipped. Rescheduled? Without him? He stormed toward the executive floor. His office door was locked. His keycard didn't work. A security guard appeared. Young. Nervous. Sir, I'm sorry. You've been temporarily restricted from accessing. Restricted. Yong Hun's voice was ice. This is my building. The guard shifted. Orders from the board, sir. Yong Hun felt the walls closing in. He turned and walked out, fists clenched, mind racing. This wasn't random. This was coordinated. But by who? Later that night, he met Sujin at their usual hotel. She was waiting in the penthouse suite, dressed like she knew exactly what he needed. Comfort. Distraction. Control. She poured him whiskey without asking. Rough day, she purred. He downed the glass. My wife thinks she can destroy me. Sujin's smile didn't reach her eyes. She's just a woman, Yong Hun. You've crushed bigger threats. He wanted to believe that. But when he went to the bathroom, he saw Sujin's phone light up on the table. A message preview. He suspects nothing. Continue as planned. Yong Hun's blood turned to ice. He walked back into the room, keeping his face neutral. Sujin smiled. Feel better? He forced a grin. Much better. But inside, the truth hit him like a sledgehammer. Even she was playing him. Zora hadn't spoken to Yong Hun in 72 hours. She didn't need to. While he scrambled, she moved like a ghost through the life they used to share. No tears. No rage. Just surgical precision. She walked into their home, her home now, with the calm of someone who'd already won. The staff greeted her differently. Respectful. Almost reverent. Mrs. Choi, the head housekeeper said, bowing deeper than usual. Your office is ready. Zora nodded. Her office. Not theirs. Hers. She sat behind the mahogany desk and opened a leather folder. Inside were documents Yong Hun thought were locked away forever. Offshore accounts. Shell companies. Mistresses on payroll. She'd known for years. Every lie. Every affair. Every shady deal. And she'd documented all of it. Her lawyer entered without knocking. A woman in her 50s, sharp as a blade. The board's on our side, she said. His assets are frozen. The investigation's moving faster than expected. Zora didn't smile. Good. What about Sujin? Playing her role perfectly. He trusts her completely. Zora leaned back. And the final piece? The lawyer slid another envelope across the desk. The prenup clause he forgot he signed. If infidelity is proven, he loses everything. Zora's fingers traced the edge of the paper. She remembered the day they married. How young she'd been. How naive. How much she'd loved him. That woman was dead now. Make sure the photos go public tomorrow, Zora said quietly. The lawyer nodded and left. Zora stood and walked to the window, looking out over the city her family built long before Yong Hun ever touched it. He thought he was untouchable. But queens don't fight with fists. They dismantle empires in silence. Her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. He's starting to panic. Want me to push harder? Zora typed back one word. Yes. Yong Hun woke up to his face on every screen in Korea. Not the polished CEO photos. Not the charity gala shots. Photos of him stumbling out of hotels. Arms wrapped around women who weren't his wife. Champagne bottles. Blurred faces that anyone could identify if they tried hard enough. The headline was brutal. Korea's golden CEO, a double life exposed. His phone exploded. Hundreds of messages. Reporters. Investors. Board members. All of them angry. He tried calling his PR team. Fired. His legal team. Resigned. His private investigators. Unreachable. Someone had cut every line of defense before he even knew he was under attack. Then the envelopes started arriving. Black ones. No return address. The first one contained bank statements. His offshore accounts. Transactions he'd buried under fake names. The second one had photos. Not of his affairs. Of his business deals. The shady ones. The ones that could put him in prison. The third envelope was the worst. A USB drive. He plugged it in with shaking hands. Video files. Time-stamped. Recorded over months. Him with Sujin. Him with investors bribing officials. Him laughing about his wife, calling her weak, calling her stupid. His own voice. His own words. Someone had been watching him for a long time. And they had everything. His chest tightened. He grabbed his phone and called the one person he thought he could still trust. Sujin. She answered on the first ring. Sweet. Soft. Yong Hun, baby, are you okay? I saw the news. Did you do this? His voice cracked. Silence. Then she laughed. Not the warm laugh he knew. A cold, sharp one. Do what, honey? Expose you? No. I just helped someone who actually deserved your empire. The line went dead. Yong Hun dropped the phone. His knees buckled. Everything he'd built. Everyone he trusted. Gone. And somewhere across the city, Zora sat in her office, watching the news coverage with a glass of wine. She didn't smile. She didn't celebrate. She just watched the man who broke her finally break himself. Yong Hun sat in the dark for hours. No lights. No phone. Just silence and the weight of his own stupidity. Sujin had played him. His wife had destroyed him. And everyone he thought he controlled had turned their backs. But he wasn't finished yet. He still had one card left to play. The next morning he showed up at Sujin's apartment. Unannounced. Desperate. She opened the door in a silk robe, coffee in hand, looking unbothered. Yong Hun. She smiled. I wasn't expecting you. We need to talk. She stepped aside. Come in. The apartment was too nice. Designer furniture. Expensive art. Things he bought her, sure. But also things he hadn't. He scanned the room. Who's paying for all this? Sujin sat on the couch, crossing her legs. Does it matter? It does when you sold me out. She laughed. Soft. Mocking. Sold you out? Baby, I didn't sell anything. I just stopped pretending you were worth protecting. His fists clenched. Who got to you? Zora? Her lawyers. Sujin sipped her coffee. You really think this is about money? Then what is it about? She set the cup down and leaned forward. Respect. Something you never gave anyone. Not me. Not your wife. Not the people who built your empire while you took credit. Yong Hun's jaw tightened. I made you. Without me you'd be nothing. Her smile vanished. Without you I'd be free. She stood and walked to the door, opening it. Leave, Yong Hun. You're embarrassing yourself. He didn't move. If you think Zora's going to protect you after this, she already has. Sujin's eyes were ice. She offered me something you never could. A future that doesn't depend on being someone's secret. Yong Hun felt the ground shift beneath him. You're working with her. Sujin didn't deny it. He stumbled out of the apartment, his mind spinning. Everyone had turned. Everyone. But the worst part? He still didn't know how deep Zora's plan went. His phone buzzed. A notification. A news alert. Yong Hun's company faces bankruptcy after investor exodus. His hand shook. This wasn't just personal anymore. This was total annihilation. How much more do you think Yong Hun can lose? Drop your answer below. Yong Hun's penthouse was empty. Not just quiet. Empty. The furniture was gone. The art. The expensive whiskey collection. Even the marble coffee table where the divorce papers first appeared. All of it. Vanished. He stood in the middle of the hollow space, his reflection staring back at him from the floor-to-ceiling windows. A stranger. His phone rang. A blocked number. He answered. What do you want? A calm, professional voice. Mr. Yong, this is a courtesy call. Your accounts have been frozen pending the fraud investigation. Your properties are being seized. You have 72 hours to vacate all residences. You can't do this. We already have. Have a good day, sir. The line went dead. Yong Hun's legs gave out. He collapsed onto the cold floor. Everything he'd built. Everything he'd taken. Gone. But the cruelty didn't stop there. Over the next 2 days, his world unraveled piece by piece. His driver quit. His chef resigned. His personal trainer blocked his number. Even his mistress from 3 years ago gave an interview, crying on camera about how he'd promised her the world and left her with nothing. The public ate it up. Social media exploded. Hashtags trended. Think pieces were written. Everyone had an opinion on the man who thought he was untouchable. And through it all, Yong Hun heard nothing from Zora. No gloating. No confrontation. Just silence. Which somehow felt worse. On the third day, a lawyer showed up at his hotel room. Not his lawyer. Zora's. The man handed him a folder. Mrs. Choi wanted you to have this. Yong Hun opened it. Inside were copies of every document she'd used to destroy him. Bank records. Photos. Contracts. Recordings. And at the bottom, a handwritten note. You always said I was too soft to survive your world. Turns out I didn't need to survive it. I just needed to dismantle it. Yong Hun crumpled the note in his fist. But his hands were shaking too hard to tear it apart. The lawyer adjusted his tie. She also wanted me to inform you that the prenup you signed has been activated. Infidelity clause. You forfeit all shared assets. Yong Hun's voice was barely a whisper. I don't have anything left. The lawyer smiled. Exactly. Do you think Zora's revenge is justified? Let me know in the comments. The board meeting happened without him. Yong Hun watched it on the news like everyone else. His company. His empire. His name on the building. And he wasn't even in the room. The interim CEO was announced. A woman he'd overlooked for promotions twice. She gave a press conference, calm and collected. We're committed to transparency moving forward. The previous leadership's actions do not reflect our values. Previous leadership. They were already erasing him. Investors pulled out overnight. Stock prices plummeted. Partners terminated contracts. Within a week, the company he'd spent 15 years building was restructuring under new management. And his name was stripped from everything. No plaques. No awards. No legacy. Just a cautionary tale. But the social destruction was worse. He tried going to his usual club. The one where CEOs and old money gathered to drink and deal. The doorman stopped him. I'm sorry, sir. Your membership has been revoked. Revoked? I'm a founding member. The doorman didn't blink. Not anymore. Yong Hun tried calling old friends, colleagues, business partners. No one answered. The few who did were cold, distant. I can't be seen with you right now, Yong Hun. You understand. He understood perfectly. He was toxic now. Untouchable in the worst way. One afternoon, a package arrived at his hotel. Plain brown box. No return address. Inside was a single USB drive and a printed photo. The photo showed him at a gala. Smiling. Arm around Zora. Back when they were still pretending. The USB drive had one file. A video. He played it. It was footage from his own security cameras. His office. His home. His car. Months of recordings. All of his private moments. His deals. His affairs. His cruelty. And at the end of the video, a single message appeared on screen. You were always being watched. You just never cared enough to notice. Yong Hun's stomach turned. Someone had been inside his life for months. Maybe years. And he'd been too arrogant to see it. His phone buzzed. A news alert. Anonymous tip leads to criminal charges against former CEO Yong Hun. His vision blurred. This wasn't just revenge anymore. This was erasure. What do you think will happen to Yong Hun next? Comment your prediction. Yong Hun had one last move. He called his oldest ally. A man who owed him everything. Someone who'd never turn. The phone rang twice. Yong Hun. The voice was cautious. I need your help. Silence. I can't. You owe me. I owed you. Past tense. Whatever you're dealing with, I can't touch it. I'm sorry. The line went dead. Yong Hun threw the phone across the room. He was alone. Completely. But Zora wasn't done. That night, every major news outlet ran the same story. Former CEO Yong Hun faces multiple lawsuits from former employees. Women he'd harassed. Workers he'd underpaid. People he'd crushed on his way up. They all came forward. With lawyers. With evidence. With stories that made his blood run cold. And every single one of them had the same legal team. Funded by Zora. She wasn't just destroying him. She was giving everyone he'd hurt a chance to take a piece. The lawsuits piled up. Criminal charges followed. Tax evasion. Fraud. Bribery. Each one another nail in the coffin. Yong Hun sat in his hotel room staring at the ceiling, wondering how it all went so wrong so fast. Then his phone buzzed one last time. A message. From Zora. Meet me tomorrow. 3 p.m. Our old place. His heart pounded. Finally. A confrontation. A chance to explain. To beg. To fight back. He showed up early. The cafe was small. Quiet. The place they used to go before the money. Before the power. Before everything fell apart. Zora walked in at exactly 3 p.m. She looked different. Stronger. Calm. She sat across from him without a word. He opened his mouth. She raised a hand. Don't? Her voice was soft. Final. I didn't come here to listen. I came to watch. Yong Hun's throat tightened. Watch what? She slid a tablet across the table. On the screen was a live feed. His last remaining asset. A private account he thought no one knew about. The balance zeroed out as he watched. No. Zora stood. You took everything from me. My time. My trust. My love. So I took everything from you. She turned to leave. Zora, please? She stopped. Didn't look back. You're not worth my anger anymore, Yong Hun. You're just a lesson I'll never forget. And she walked out, leaving him with nothing but the ruins of the empire he destroyed himself. Do you think Zora should forgive him? Comment below. Yong Hun didn't leave the cafe for an hour. He just sat there, staring at the empty chair across from him, replaying Zora's words over and over. You're just a lesson I'll never forget. Not anger. Not hatred. Just cold, final indifference. That hurt more than anything else. Days passed. Then weeks. The lawsuits kept coming. The media circus continued. But Yong Hun stopped fighting. What was the point? He'd lost everything that mattered. Money. Power. Respect. And the one person he never thought would leave him had walked away without looking back. One morning he woke up in a cheap motel on the edge of Seoul. The kind of place he used to pass without a second glance. Now it was all he could afford. His phone had 3 missed calls. All from reporters wanting statements. Wanting him to defend himself. He ignored them. Instead, he did something he hadn't done in years. He went to see Zora. Not to beg. Not to apologize. Just to see her one last time. He found her at a charity event. The kind she used to organize when they were married. She stood on stage, speaking to a room full of people who actually respected her. She looked radiant. Confident. Free. Everything he tried to dim in her was now shining brighter than ever. When the event ended, he waited outside. She walked past him without stopping. Zora. She paused. Didn't turn around. Please. Just 5 minutes. She finally looked at him. Her eyes were calm. Empty of anything he used to see there. What do you want, Yong Hun? He swallowed hard. I wanted to say I'm sorry. She stared at him for a long moment. Then she laughed. Soft. Set. You're not sorry you hurt me. You're sorry you got caught. He opened his mouth to argue. But the words died in his throat. Because she was right. Zora stepped closer. Her voice dropped. You spent years making me feel small. Worthless. Like I should be grateful you even looked at me. Her eyes didn't waver. But the truth is, you were always the small one. You just had money and power to hide behind. She turned and walked toward her car. Yong Hun called after her. What happens now? She stopped. Look back one last time. You live with what you did. And I live without you. The door closed. The engine started. And she drove away, leaving him standing alone in the cold. Do you think Yong Hun will ever change? Let me know below. Zora didn't think about Yong Hun anymore. Not when she woke up. Not when she worked. Not when she built the life she'd always deserved. She'd spent too many years trapped in his shadow. Now she was done. Her company was thriving. The one she'd quietly started while he was busy destroying himself. Investors loved her. Employees respected her. The media called her a phoenix rising from the ashes. But Zora didn't care about the headlines. She cared about the quiet. The peace she'd earned. One evening she sat in her office looking out over the city. The same skyline Yong Hun used to brag about owning. He owned nothing now. And she owned herself. Her assistant knocked softly. Mrs. Choi, there's someone here to see you. Zora frowned. I don't have any appointments. I know. But he's insisting. Says it's important. Zora's chest tightened. She already knew who it was. Send him away. The assistant hesitated. He said he'll wait as long as it takes. Zora closed her eyes. Took a breath. Tell him I'm not interested in anything he has to say. Not now. Not ever. The assistant nodded and left. Zora turned back to the window. Somewhere out there, Yong Hun was probably still trying to convince himself he wasn't the villain. But Zora didn't need him to admit it. She didn't need closure. She didn't need revenge anymore. She'd already won. Not by destroying him, but by rebuilding herself. A few minutes later, her phone buzzed. A message. Unknown number. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I hope one day you find peace. Zora stared at the message, then deleted it. She stood, grabbed her coat, and walked out of the office. The hallway was empty. Yong Hun was gone, just like she knew he would be. Zora stepped into the elevator, her reflection calm in the polished doors. She didn't smile. She didn't cry. She just breathed. Free. Finally free. And as the doors closed, she whispered to herself, some people don't deserve a second chance. And that's okay. The elevator descended, and Zora never looked back. What's the biggest lesson you took from this story? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you made it this far, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a story like this. See you in the next one.